Yellow Fever. I'm Ivan.
I'm Shreya. And I'm Ruby.
Exploring the topic of Asian stereotypes, we first have to cover its origins, which can be traced back to the end of the 19th century in a period of time called the Yellow Terror, or otherwise known as the Yellow Pearl, after the sudden influx of Chinese and Asian immigrants into the greater Californian area. That resulted in several racist propaganda pieces being put out, one of which is being called the Perpetual Foreigner. This idea that because of Asian person's features makes him or her different from being an actual American, that they're never quite a real American, or whatever country they happen to live in. Even after living 2 to 3 generations, then nobody really quite believes them when they say, I'm from here.
It definitely is frustrating and makes you feel like less of an American and kind of questions, as a young person, your identity growing up.
Shreya has another stereotype that she wants to cover.
Yeah, so the idea that Asians are really good at math and science, it's called the model, and that they're just really successful, it's called the model minority. And this does come out of, I guess, some truth, because Asians are the most successful group of people, or like minority group in the U.S. based on education level and income level. And we see this a lot in TV shows and movies. That you always see that the Asian kids are always like the really smart ones who are like on their calculators all the time. And for example, like Christina Yang in Grey's Anatomy is supposed to be like a really smart doctor who went to Stanford, aced her class. Carl Penn's character in House was very much the same thing. And even on like cartoons or cartoon shows like South Park and Family Guy, you have all these like Asian characters that are friends with the children. They're always like very, very smart. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, but it does it's always like an emphasis, like they're very good at math and science. They all want to be doctors and engineers. And so the problem with that is people like me, who maybe want to be, a lawyer or go into politics, we kind of don't get taken seriously because we're kind of like the exceptions and not the rules. I experienced this when I was in high school, and I was talking with one of my teachers, and she goes, "Oh, well, you must be really good at math and science." And at the time, I was actually not doing very well in my math and science classes, so it was kind of discouraging in a way, because when she was like, "Oh, you must be really good at math and science," I felt kind of like I was not living up to my stereotype.
Could it be a cultural thing? Whereas, as we've studied all in our Chinese classes, that there's an emphasis on a group mentality when it comes to their nation, as opposed to the individual emphasis as there is in the United States.
So another one is that Asian men are really feminine. So there's been a whole cultural castration of these Asian men, and it dates back to whenever they came back as immigrants to the United States, and they couldn't really find any male jobs. So they had to deal with feminine jobs and like cooking, cleaning, or something that we consider more inferior now today. So in American movies reinforces the stereotype and stuff like The Hangover with Mr. Chow, and also Breakfast at Tiffany's with Mickey Rooney. So these Asian males are depicted as really nerdy guys with huge glasses and buck teeth and really loud, and have this big obsession with white females. And the reason for this is because they're trying to break their norm, or trying to prove to other people that they can get white females, because it is harder for Asian males to get dates, let alone, So getting a white female makes them break that norm according to society. And on the contrary, females have been hypersexualized, and they're seen as the trophy wives for white males. So what it's called is yellow fever. They're being dated for their sexual orientation and this whole eccentric and exotic image that white males have of them. And the reason for this is for the China doll and Gigi girl and comfort woman stereotype. The way this started off was that most of the female work that they had available was as sexual slaves, or they were sold off in the sex trade, and especially brought over to the United States as wives for the bachelors who were living in California. And especially as the geisha girls, they were taught this art of serving men, which is an art in Japan, but over here it's seen as something more sexual. And also as comfort women, they were sold off to or kidnapped by military men just to pleasure their needs. And so now they've been hypersexualized, and they're seen as really sexy women who every guy wants, and they're also very submissive.
I think so. It's very diligent. Yeah.
China. That they're really smart. Yeah, smart.
Think of math. I mean, it's the truth.
Yeah.
So honestly, as a classical musician, I have a lot of Asian friends, and I'm always blown away by their playing. Like all of the Asians I know are very talented. And yeah, so I guess talented is what comes to mind first when I think of Asians.
But I've grown up in a mixed cultural environment for most of my life.
Cool.
Yeah, Jackie Chan.
Yeah.
Do you find them sexually attractive?
Yeah, they're cute.
Yeah.
I think they are. Some of them are cute.
Yeah.
Some of them are not that cute. Just like any other people.
I do, yes. Yeah, I do.
I have dated an Asian man before.
Okay. All right.
The ones that cook good.
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, I think it depends. I mean, like, yeah, I guess some could be really smart. Yeah.
They tend to apply themselves. It's like, I don't know, their culture to be more applied to their education and their work ethic.
Yeah, I guess I do tend to think that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Math. Science. Not necessarily. They might be more motivated, but it could just be a cultural influence rather than a racial one.
Always hear something kind of, say Asian students are smart, but they are not very good at socializing. Yeah.
So do you think it's true or not?
I think so because I this kind of I like reading by myself, but I don't like very much to a party.
Thanks for watching.